I'm a cyclist and I live in the Pennines, and welcome to my channel. And on today's ride we set out on another local loop because the weather was looking pretty bad again. We had Storm Zeta approaching with Storm Aiden upon us. The weather this week has been particularly bad. And on today's ride we set off towards Ramsbottom and Holcombe Moor, eventually making our way through Haslingden and back on towards Burnley. It was the last day of October and this was going to be a 46-mile loop and 50 miles by the time we'd finished, with over 3,400 feet of climbing. And looking at the parkour today, it looked pretty much like a shark's too. And with 6 riders at the start of the ride, we were all in good spirits and the weather was dry. But that very quickly changed. Then we gave Mike the camera for his debut presenter's role, and we'll come back to that later on. And following Chris down this descent, we hit some pretty scary speeds. And then it really rained. And I found myself a nice little cafe in Littleborough. But before my ride started, the winter bike is out of action because I had a close shave with a car. And the tyres on my sportive bike had seen better days. So it was time to put some new ones on. So here we are at mile 0.
Well, we've been here 10 minutes and we're in no rush to set off. They're all just chatting. It's all bike talk.
Right, well, we're going to make a route up today and let's see if the rain holds off.
So here we are now on the start of the Albets climb. And just behind me there we've got Owen and Mike coming through, closely followed by Lee. And if you just look down in the distance there, Carl was just off the back.
Let me get behind this wall. Okay, last week I came down here. This is the A680, the Albets. Norden's that way, Edenfield's that way, and I think we've got a tailwind up here. So getting up here might be pretty easy, but I can push a bigger gear. So come on, let's go.
Okay, we're on the back now with Carl. On the wheel then, come on.
So whilst the other riders were ahead, it was only fair to help Carl just get over the crest of the climb. And it's always good just to offer some encouragement with one of your friends who's struggling on the climbs. And so next we bridge the gap to Chris, and the guys are waiting at the lay-by just ahead.
Right, Chris?
Although Chris was a little bit off the back here, on the descents there's not many people can keep up with him. However, there's the hand signal, we don't need to stop for a breather, the guys just waited for us so we could all regroup. We'll just carry on and go straight through. The fitness levels in the group are pretty good at the moment.
Okay, just about to reach the blind summit and then the descent. This might get quick.
So here we are now on the first descent of the day, and this was part of the Tour of Britain route last year. I'm just passing Owen in blue and Lee in yellow there, and we're winding the pace up. It felt like it could have been pretty quick this, but you've always got to be mindful of crosswinds on this descent.
The guys are behind me now. I'm going to watch out for side winds.
So here comes Owen going to the front again, and look how he tucks in and he gets his profile as narrow as possible to cut through the air. Look every now and then at the bike though, you can see where the air's catching his rims. We're doing about 40 miles per hour here. We've got surface water, as you can see the lens is getting quite wet as well. There's rain on the air. Again we've got more surface water with a pretty nice right-hander here, and we're hitting this at the legal speed limit, around 40 miles per hour along here. I think we maxed out at around 41, maybe 42. Give the camera a little wipe, and then Lee will come through on his compact setup, and look at his cadence when he comes by. He really is spinning away there. That's great to see. And his light is pretty good as well. This time of year you need to be using lights in the daytime. Then watch this. Let's just rewind that a minute. The chain reaction here was incredible. Lee's in front there, he gets a slight swerve there. Watch Owen's bike, that was aggressive. Then my handlebars actually got tucked to one side. The wind was actually travelling from the left to the right, and with that gap in the houses there, it must have really caused a bit of turbulence. And we all felt it for sure, and it became a talking point of the ride for some time.
Hey. Yep. Good. Side wind. Yep.
And after this little dip, it was Ramsbottom next. And this is Duncan McNutt's stomping ground.
Okay, we're in a really we're at Ramsbottom, next to the Hernia. The guys are going to come through. We're about 12.5 miles into the ride, and it's raining.
And so one by one, it was time to put our raincoats on. The weather wasn't looking that good.
Right, well, it's a repeat of last week. It's tipping it down. We're now outside Ramsbottom. Hawkshaw's that way. I need to just keep dry. It's actually warm. So I'm going to get too hot now, but I don't want to get soaking wet.
So having got the rain jacket on, it was time to catch up the guys and head towards the Hare and Hounds, and then take a sharp right and go on to the Holcombe Road climb, which is the B6214. Here we are now, just taking that right-hander, and Lee had held back for me just to bring me up to the group. And to get to Holcombe, the road's quite steep at one section, and then it gradually levels out. As you can see, we've got very wet surface conditions with leaves on the road.
Right, well, we've done the bulk of the climb now over Holcombe Moor, going through Holcombe village itself. I got a bit of a gap there because I got my raincoat on, and the guys waited, but they're still ahead. We'll catch you further on down the line.
And then I decided to give Mike the camera.
I'm going to hand the camera over to Mike.
Yeah.
And Mike can do some filming.
Yeah.
You got it?
Yeah. That to your right is a quarry that were built by the Delta solar system, and it formed limescale in 1427 BC, and the coagulant of the adjacent...
Mike, you're not filming you. You're pointing the wrong way.
Hey?
That's how the camera pointing at you.
Like that?
Yeah, but get it further away.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry viewers. Sorry viewers of the...
It's new.
Of the... I'm a cyclist and I ride through the Pennines, or something along them lines.
There, Mike. That's it. Don't put your thumb over. He's facing the wrong way.
Oh. Sorry viewers.
Village Indian of the Pennines.
There's the monk just going past with his Puss in Boot pants on. Looks like he's going to pantomime. Yeah, so I was saying, that over there is like Malham Cove, and it was formed in, I think it were 0600 BC, wasn't it, Dad?
Oh, before that.
Before that.
Victorian time.
And it was formed by the delta atmosphere of the solar system, and it formed its limescale through a northeasterly wind blowing at 23 miles an hour towards Todmorden. And talking of Todmorden, our mate hasn't turned up because he's a lazy so-and-so.
Well, I've given Mike a camera. He's pointing it the wrong way. He's talking a load of nonsense. Oh my god.
And he likes to stay in bed, and it's a waste of space. Yeah, so I think that's about the lesson today. I'll hand you back to Darren. Thanks. Cut. Yeah, cut at that. Ah, done, Dad. That don't get you any more viewers. I don't know what will, Dad.
Hang on, where are we? Wait a minute. Yeah, we're on.
Yeah. That'll be a good watch, that, Daz.
That is worth at least 3 more views. Cheers,
Worth
Mike.
more than that, Daz.
Thanks, Mike.
Worth about 3 million, that.
3 million.
Anyway, back to some serious bike riding, and here we are now on the other side of Holcombe Moor as we drop in towards Helmshaw. This was a pretty quick descent, and look at the conditions. We've got lots of standing water, and we're cruising at around 34 and 35 miles per hour with a nice pushing wind. And at this point we got on the B6235 as we passed through Helmshaw and then approached the Grain Road, which is the B6232.
We're 20 miles into the ride. We're on the Grain Road, and that's Holden Church behind us, the antique centre. I can hear Mike behind me somewhere. He's knocking about.
And having got through Haslingden, we took on the little climb of Rakefoot and Haslingden Old Road. And this is quite a steep little climb, where most of the guys were out of the saddle, dancing on the pedals. And then we get a really nice descent as we go past Whittaker Park on a fast approach into Rawtenstall town centre again, which is where we were last week.
Got a cracking tailwind, making it so much easier.
And so we made our way along the A682 with an absolutely wicked tailwind. Here we are passing the Wagoners on the left. And I'll hand it back to you now, where I've got Chris in front of me with a long straight road ahead. This got really fast, very quickly as well.
When are we geared?
Listen to the wheels. So Chris comes by. Look how that bike just cuts through the air.
50 mile an hour, 51 mile an hour, 52.
Now in super fast conditions this bike has limitations, and I can see this clearly on this descent. We're doing 52 miles per hour, tucked right in, and Chris just pulls a gap on me. He's not pedalling. He's hitting 54, and I think he actually hit 56 miles an hour along here. And today we all got top 10s. It was that quick down here, one of the guys missed out on the KOM because he caught the X43 bus up.
Wow.
This was absolutely on it. This was so quick. I don't recommend you try this at home at all. Anyway, we turn right here and it's Cliviger and Todmorden next.
I got 52 I saw. You must have got 54. Well, that was really quick then. I saw 52 when Chris came by me. Very quick.
And then it stopped raining and it was way too warm.
This can come off.
And then on the approach to Cornholme, it started to rain again. But it felt warm and the windstopper jacket was doing its job. And here we are now going under the arches. We're doing around 30 miles per hour. Owen's on the front, then we've got Lee and I'm third in line with the other guys behind. And again, I must stress, we're not racing, we're just trying to get home before the storm arrived. Now this was quite a long turn that Owen did on the front here. And also, we was able to keep up with that car in front. Once you go to the front, you don't half feel it. Once that wind's in your face, you really are taking it for the guys. But moving on down the road a bit further here, this is a really interesting bit. I love it down here. Although it is damp, we've got leaves on the road. You've got some really nice left and right handers approaching. You can hit this pretty good on a dry day. Even though it was wet, we were still doing around 32 and 33 miles per hour. This time we've got Lee on the front, Owen and myself third in line. And I think at this point as well, Carl had just dropped off the back. Here comes the big right-hander. Everyone's got different lines on here. I always like to cut in a bit onto the inside and then drift out a bit wider. Got a lot of water on the lens again as we approach the flatter sections down the valley.
Right, well, we're in Todmorden now, 32 miles, waiting for Carl. I think he's here with us now. We've all regrouped. We're in Todmorden, so I'm not sure what's next. Are we doing a cafe stop is a good question.
Well, the guys wanted to get back home before the storm really kicked in, but I decided to call in at the Waterfall tea room because I fancied a cup of coffee and a tea cake. And it filled a gap. And so whilst I enjoyed this welcome break, Storm Aiden was approaching the Pennines, just in time for when I was about to leave.
Right, well, I've had a nice cup of coffee and a tea cake.
It's raining again, but I'll be home pretty shortly. It's been another wet ride, a tough ride as well, but I've enjoyed it. Well, we're making our way now down the Cliviger Gorge. I made a mess of that, didn't I?
Thanks, cut. Yeah, cut at that. Ah, done, Daz. That don't get you any more viewers, I don't know what will. You could watch that, Daz.
That is worth at least 3 more views.
That's about 3 million, that.
3 million.